Welcome to Who Wrote That Up For You, a daily podcast that shines a light on the American justice system and its role in empowering the powerful to take from you. The justice system is the only branch of your government where an individual, rather than the collective, can make the system act for you. It puts power in the individual's hands, but it's broken and being used against you at a time when you need it most.
And welcome to Who Wrote That Up For You. I am Sonia Ebron, co-founder at Courtroom 5.
And I am Deborah Sloan, the other co-founder at Courtroom 5.
Delightful show lined up for you today. In a few moments, we will speak with Miss Ada Crenshaw at the Nfinite Legacy Mobile Notary, offering notary public services out of McKinney, Texas. So excited to hear about the services she offers there. Before we get there, though, Deborah, what's on your mind today?
Want to report on a Washington state issue where a federal judge is being asked to weigh in on whether Washington State's Social Services Agency should face consequences for delays in providing mental health services to people in jail. When it's mental health services, that means that a lot of people who are facing that typically aren't aren't really competent to assist with their trial, who may have some psychiatric issues that are not conducive to even going to court, let alone being helped with the trial. But it turns out that Washington State seems to be um, just dragging their feet on these disability rights for people in jail because people in jail have the stigma of you've committed a crime but that's something that needs to change because I'm sure Washington State isn't the only place where this is happening. I think a lot of people in general across the country are facing issues of mental health issues, and they're not getting the kind of help that they need, especially from the courts or even from the medical profession.
That's an important story, and you're right. I think it is nationwide. I think also, there's not enough attention paid to the fact that a lot of people end up in jail because of mental health
Because
crises. In fact, in many instances, you're more likely to get mental health services in jail.
mm,
Despite the scarcity that you're referencing there, than you are outside, and so it's a horrible circumstances. We really got to do better as a culture dealing with mental health issues. So I appreciate you
exactly.
bringing that up. Well, at Courtroom 5, we believe the courts belong to the people, in particular to the people who use them. And we, the people, are coming to claim our courts. So if you are in court without a lawyer or you need to sue someone and can't find a lawyer to represent you, get yourself over to courtroom5.com. Try a limited version of our services for free, and we hope to provide some relief for you there. At this time, it's my pleasure to welcome onto the show Ada Crenshaw at the Nfinite Legacy Mobile Notary in McKinney, Texas. Ms. Crenshaw, thank you for joining us on Who Wrote That Up For You.
Hi. I had it muted. I didn't want to have the background on. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic to have you here. Well, let me ask you first, what's your background? What brought you to providing notary services there in Texas?
Well, my background is I worked 21 years in the aerospace and defense industry. Worked for a few very high profile aerospace and defense companies such as Northrop Grumman and Raytheon and L3 Communications. And I worked in the field of project management and change management. I started my career in data management systems, doing a lot of coding and writing code. Then my career just shifted and changed and morphed into what it was, and I loved it. And so I was laid off in 2021, which was a total blessing for me, and which started me thinking, what was I going to do? It came as a surprise. I know it wasn't a surprise to God, but it was a surprise to me. And what led me to being a notary was that I have bought and sold different pieces of property, since 23 when I bought my first house out in California. And so I was very familiar with loan documents, with notaries, working with notaries for different types of legal documents as a consumer. And so my real estate agent, his name is Terrence Williams, and we were talking and having a conversation, and this was way before I was laid off. But he said, as a side hustle, you really could be a notary. You already know about loan documents. You already know this. He said, that will be a great side hustle for you. And I said, okay, I'll think about that. I did a little research, nothing very serious, but kind of did some research on what a notary does and all the skills that were needed. And little did I know, I would really be thinking about it seriously after February 19th of 2021. And so that's what led me to do notary, because it's like, oh, well, it's second nature for me. And so I could do something to get money, because that was the purpose. I need to do something where it will pay the bills, and something that I can meet different people and not have to sit in the office all day. So that's what led me to just thinking, you know what, I am going to start my notary business.
That's
And
great.
it was that, and then it's been just moving so fast for me ever since 2021 with Infinite Legacy Mobile Notary. So that's how I started my journey in the notary field.
That is fantastic. Well, let me ask, what are some of those skills that you have to bring to the practice of being a notary public?
Well, since in my work along the years, I worked in data management and project management, and the skill that I really learned was being organized, keeping up to date with different industry standards, government standards, being able to schedule my time and really be detail oriented, because working in aerospace and defense, you have to be on it. You have to have a sense of detail, because the things that you're working on, yeah, people lives do depend on some of the things that you do. So you can't afford to really mess up. So those skills help me transition into being a notary, because you still have to keep up with the trends. You have to keep up with changing laws, different technologies that you may have to use if you're, let's say, a remote notary. You have to keep up with what's going on and the different laws and rules that change, that are involved with becoming a notary in your state. So because I had that skill set with me, it just made my job a lot easier, because it was like doing my job in corporate, but not only just now doing it for myself. So if you're able to, really pay attention to detail, really be that extrovert, which I'm an introvert a little. So getting out of your comfort zone and really uh, working with different people, different characteristics, that I feel you could be a really good notary. And doing that, if you love people and you love meeting new people all the time, then being a notary is for you.
Well, let me ask then. I know the requirements vary state to state, but what is the requirement there in Texas to be a notary, to offer those services to the public?
Well, I went. There are different companies that will offer the service of helping you become a notary. I went through the National Notary Association, the NNA, and I went to their website, clicked on my state, and it gave me all the steps of what I needed to do to become a notary in the state of Texas. So I would advise anyone, go to the NNA, or I think it's the Association of Notaries. It's a different organization, but I went through the NNA. because I'm more familiar with them. And so when you click on your state, you go to their website, you click on the state that you're in, and it will tell you step by step what you need to do in your state to become a notary. So
Fantastic.
in the state of Texas, I had to take a test to become a notary first. And then what after I got my certificate notarized, and then I had to send it to the state, and then I kept going, and I got my certification to be a remote online notary. I took the test to become a loan signing agent. So I would say with the NNA, it really is it's very streamlined. You will know from beginning to end of what you have to do, where you need to send your certificate to, what softwares that you need, what supplies you need. It will all be in one place. So I would say that was the easiest part, because it was just a matter of going to the website, following the directions, and that was it. When I started to be a notary, I got the notice on February 19th that I was going to be laid off. My company gave me 90 days to find another job. So within maybe 60 days, I had already taken my test. I was already a notary when I walked outside the company, and I had clients when I walked out.
That's
So
fantastic.
the key to becoming and staying a notary is really networking. I can't stress network, because I feel that that was the only way that I really got a good footing into becoming a notary. So it can be done. It
Yeah.
can be done
Well,
quickly.
let me ask, what other services does your notary mobile notary service offer alongside the strict signing there or stamping of signatures?
We also offer apostille services, which that allows for a person to legally and send documents internationally. So apostille is basically a certificate that allows a person to send documents overseas. And there are a series of steps that you have to go, just a checklist to make sure that everything is in order. Follow the steps within the guidelines of the state that you're performing that apostille for, you need that certificate for. And that's the service that we offer to help people to streamline the process of doing that, because it can become very cumbersome. And so we take that out of the equation for you. So we actually help you go through the process, get all the things done, and actually send it overseas for you. Um,
Fantastic.
we also offer wedding officiant services. So I'm a licensed wedding officiant, so I can marry you wherever you want to go. I can do out of state. I can do virtual online weddings, which I've done one. And yes, I will fly to wherever you want me to go. I will be where you want me to be. If it's Texas, I can do that. But if you want me to go to Atlanta, Maryland, or any place, I can be there.
That's
I can be
fantastic.
there.
That is awesome. And so, speaking of international work and flying here and there, I know every time I've had to use a notary, I've had to physically, do a wet signature. It's often
Mhm.
required, for instance, for many legal documents.
Yeah.
But are there opportunities these days to do things remotely in notary work?
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Remote online notary I feel, is very convenient, and it allows people to stay where they are and get their documents signed. Sometimes in less than 5 minutes, you can have a document signed, depending on the size. But remote online notary is less than 30 minutes. When you really do it, depending on if you have a big, well, title companies, that's another story. They're slow to get into it, but normal documents, it's less than 30 minutes to go through and stamp and sign. And then once you've done that, the person will automatically get the document within minutes after signing.
Fantastic, fantastic. And so, for a person who needs to have some sort of legal document signed, they can reach out to a notary, or stamped rather. They can reach out to a notary and just do that remotely. Is that the
Yes.
understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. And so, Ada, I'm going to share your website for our users on the screen. That's Infinite, starting with an N, Infinite Legacy Mobile Notary at the website, infinitelegacynotary.com. Where else can people find you online?
You could also find me on Instagram, the same Infinite Legacy Notary on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn, so you can always find me on LinkedIn. And I also have a Facebook page, which is Infinite Legacy Notary. So it's easy to find me. And I always like putting content out there to help fellow notaries and also to provide information for the public when it comes to working with the notary. So I really like connecting with people and really helping people get started, because I feel that the things that I've learned, I cannot keep to myself. I cannot keep it to myself. I have to share it with someone.
Wonderful, wonderful. We'll share those in the show notes. So great that you were able to make a transition to this space and to provide your valuable services. Thank you so much for sharing
Yes.
this information with our audience today. We'll
Thank
have
you.
you on again. Thank you so
Thank
much. Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic.
That's
There's
great.
so many services like that people need in litigation and in other areas of life, that you really just want to understand how they work and what all is available and when you might need those. So really appreciate learning that information today. So Deborah, what's the answer to the last quiz, if you would, and what do you have up for us next?
Okay, so the question was, which of the following is not an example of an affirmative defense? Is it laches, waiver, accord and satisfaction, or malice? And of course, it's malice. Malice is it's not even a defense. It's something you have when you're when you're not being a good person. The other ones are affirmative defenses. They're things that you can use to defend yourself, even if all the facts that the plaintiff claims are true. Okay, so today's question: a successful blank can end your case, but not usually on the merits. Is it a motion to vacate, a notice of appeal, a motion for summary judgment, or a motion to dismiss? Which one of these can end your case, but not usually on the merits? All right.
Fantastic. Well, that's an interesting one. I'm not sure I know the answer to that one, so we'll be looking for the answer coming up soon.
All right.
Fantastic. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks as always for joining us on Who Wrote That Up for You, and we will see you again next time.
Are you feeling beleaguered, angry, or afraid, as if things are spinning out of control and you're powerless to stop them? It's easy to just let things slide and hope they don't get worse. But they often do get worse. The thing is, you're not powerless. Our courts belong to us, and their purpose is to give power to the powerless. Don't let your grievances pile up without redressing them. You can handle this in court. Or, if someone takes you to court, you can take them to school.